Hey, what's going on? My name's Charlie. If you're watching this, you might be the first one to ever watch this channel. Let me just introduce myself. I'm Charlie. I started getting interested in cryptocurrency in October, November of 2017. Just kind of dabbled in it for a while, and then decided I wanted to um, learn a lot more about it this year. And so I just started watching videos and trying to teach myself how to buy and sell and trade cryptocurrency. So I'm looking at a chart here on TradingView, but first I want to do a shout out really quick to BK. If you've never watched this guy's videos or joined this guy's Facebook group, I highly recommend it. Number one Bitcoin group in the world. I think that this guy's method of determining when to buy and sell is pretty genius, and it's somewhat the method I'm using. I mean, what he does is he teaches you how to fish, and then you go out and learn how to fish. And so what this channel is really going to be about is my journey in learning how to navigate the cryptocurrency world. So first thing is I want to tell you that I joined Binance. So I have a Binance account. That's where I do all of my trading, and then I'll do a video in the future about how you actually go about setting up an account and things to look for on the account, because it can be a little intimidating if you're new to trading, and I was not a stock trader or anything like that, so all of this was new to me. But I want to show you something. So on January 17th, 2018, I put in on that day 0.40722356 Bitcoin into my Binance account, and the estimated dollar value on that day was $4,560. So that day I made a trade, and you'll see here on 118 my Bitcoin value went up to 0.411. So it was, the Bitcoin value was at $4,600. And then I just started, I had not found BK's group at this point. I was I was just experimenting with trading. And as you can see, from 118 to 127, I was getting pretty frustrated. And then on 128, I was getting even more frustrated. Bitcoin value was dropping. Every trade I made, I seemed to buy in at the wrong time, and then I was selling after taking a loss. It was really bad. So somewhere around, I don't know, January 25th, January 26th, that's when I came across BK's group, and I started learning his strategies, and so that's what I'm using now. And one thing I want to note is that depending on where we're at in any given cryptocurrency cycle would determine, I think, which coin should be a reserve currency. So let me give you an example. I'm going to go to TradingView, and I'm going to just find BTC to USDT. In case you don't know what USDT is, that's Tether. I do not recommend ever trading into Tether, but guess what? When I first started this journey, that's exactly what I was doing. But then I came to realize that Tether is like sitting at a craps table and betting on everybody else to lose, because the only way your Tether value grows to Bitcoin is if Bitcoin's dropping. And guess what? I don't think Bitcoin's going to be dropping much longer. But here's a chart that I made a while back. It's still in there. And let me just give you a feel for what's going on here. So the way that BK teaches to trade is you want to draw. First of all, I'm using a 343-minute candles. If you don't know what a candle is, if you zoom in here, each one of these green or red things is a candle, and that's the trading that's taken place over the last 343 minutes. Now you can change this to whatever you want, but 343 minutes is seems to be ideal for this methodology. And then what you're going to want to do, and by the way, you can only have 343 minutes if you buy the account, and the first 30 days is free. Then after that, it's like $9.99 a month on TradingView. So the next thing you want to do is you want to set up these indicator lines. These are moving averages. So I use moving average exponential. All you do is get on the screen, right click, insert an indicator. You can type in moving average. And then I use, like I said, exponential. Now I've already put them here. Now what's going to happen is they're going to come up over here. You're going to click on this little button that says format. And then you're going to want a 7-day length. And your style, just change the color. You want 2 different colors on here. You want a blue line, a yellow line, then I'll show you what this 231 shaded area is here in a little bit. So you've got your inputs is just your length is 7, so that's 7 candles. So roughly what, 343 minute candle, so it's tracking over a couple of, maybe a day and a half. All right, so that's the first one. Then you want to do the same thing on a 77. In my case, that's my yellow line, so that's 77 candles. And then this 231, that's a 231 candles, so that's a very, very long period of time. And I've got it shaded, okay, down here on the custom colors. You can make it really dark, but I like to make it more see-through, opaque. And so that's what you're going to want to do to set up your chart. Now, what I want you to see here is that the buying signals are really, really simple with this strategy. You see this blue line, it pretty much tracks right along with the candles. Okay, the yellow line is a longer period of time, that's 77 candles, so it doesn't track. And then this longer 231, it's like a very long period of time, and it's just going to be a good gauge of the direction that the market is going. And in case you've been asleep for the last month, Bitcoin surged towards the beginning to middle of December of last year, peaking I think at around 20,000 on around December the 18th. And since then, as you can see, the blue line has been in a downward trend cycle. And you'll see that for the longest period of time, the yellow line was trending up, and so was the 231. In fact, the yellow line continued to trend up even after Bitcoin started to correct itself towards the middle to end of December of last year. And right around here on December the 21st, the blue line dropped below the yellow line. And then you'll see here it briefly came above the yellow line on the 26th and then immediately dropped below on the 28th. It went above the yellow line on the 3rd, dropped below on the 9th, and then now for the last better part of January, Bitcoin has been in just a death spiral, what seems like, trying to find a floor. Now, it may have found one today, actually, and that's why I wanted to make this video, because this video is as much for me to document my journey as it is for you guys. I hope you enjoy the channel. But I want to show you something that I discovered the other night when I was sitting in my hotel room. I was traveling for work. It was Donald Trump was on TV, and I was bored watching him, so I turned on TradingView, and I just said, I'm kind of tired of my account losing value. What can I do to gain value? By the way, Bitcoin is trading at new lows right now. I'm just seeing this 94.64. We're really nearing a floor on this. I think it might go down to, I've documented this line at some point for some reason. I think it might go down into the 8,700 range. If it breaks this plane right here, I think it might even go down as far as 6,500, which would be great. I think for me, I don't know if it would be great for everybody, but if you're watching this channel, it might be great for you. So here's the deal. On the 30th, or I think it was the 29th, whatever night Donald Trump was speaking, I'm sitting there and I'm watching Donald, and I say, how can I change this pattern? And so what I did was I started thinking, well, which coin do I always see on Binance that's going up, at least on a regular basis, to Bitcoin. And I was like, I'm going to make that my reserve currency for now. So it was Ethereum. Now, Ethereum also hit some really record highs towards the US dollar in December and January timeframes, and it's maintained that. But not only has it maintained that, this TradingView chart is showing you Ethereum to Bitcoin. So if you go back to December the 18th, Ethereum ever since then has basically been on a huge pattern of increase over Bitcoin. So back then, one Ethereum was worth 0.0375 Bitcoin. So you might remember I was telling you that Bitcoin maxed out at about 20,000 on that day. So Ethereum, whatever 0.037 of 20,000 is, it was probably at like $600 or $700 on that day, okay, to the USD. But look at this. Since then, Ethereum has kicked the living tar out of Bitcoin. It has gone from 0.03736 of Bitcoin all the way up to where it is today, which is at 0.119. So that, in case you're curious, if you had bought one Ethereum back then, you basically would have, if you had one Bitcoin worth of Ethereum back then, you would now have 4 Bitcoin, because it's basically been a 4x in the last month and a half. So that would be pretty phenomenal, especially when Bitcoin's about to turn around here in a little bit. So, because the goal here, I don't think, is to grow Ethereum. My goal, my personal goal, is to grow Bitcoin. So I created this chart the other night, and this is how I came to this conclusion. I was sitting there, it was, what night was it? 129 or 130. It was in this time period. And I said, now with the BK trading pattern, usually you don't buy in until the blue line crosses the yellow. But I was like, good, I'm just tired of holding Bitcoin because it's just tanking, and I want it to grow. And every trade I was making was losing. So I was like, you know what? Forget Bitcoin for a while. I'm putting my money into Ethereum. So I did that. I made that trade. And since then, go back to my chart. I was at 0.349978. Last night it was at 0.38323 or 328 of Bitcoin, and then this morning, right now, it's at 0.3988, and it's not showing any sign of stopping. Now I want you to see something, and this video is getting a little long, so I'm going to try to cut it short here in the next couple of minutes because I got to get to work. But notice here this green line that I drew. Now this appeared to be a ceiling over here on the time period was around June 1st of last year. That appeared to be a ceiling, and then Ethereum to Bitcoin just started crushing it after that. You'll notice that it went on this huge spike journey, and then for the remaining part of the year it was on a downward cycle. And what was happening during that time was Bitcoin was roaring. You might remember that from like July of last year, when really people would talk about Bitcoin, but then by the end of the year, nobody would shut up about it. Everybody was talking about it. And then, on December the 18th, Ethereum woke up, and it started crushing Bitcoin again, just like it was doing at the middle part of last year. Now, I have a prediction that Ethereum, which is right now at 0.12 Bitcoin, this morning it was like at 0.108, so it's just spiking right now. I have a theory that it's going to at least get to this purple line, and I think it's going to do that in the next day or two. It's going to happen quickly. At which point, I think Bitcoin is going to floor out on the dollar, probably at around the 8,700 mark. Ethereum will kind of hover like it was back here in June. You'll see up the top of this purple line over here, it was hovering, and then Ethereum is going to drop off. Now at that point, what my plan is to do is on Binance is just to get all of my Ether, buy whatever value of Bitcoin I have at that point, and then ride the Bitcoin wave and trade pairs off of Bitcoin, because for the last few days I've been trading pairs off of Ethereum. I'll explain that in later videos, but I need to cut this one short. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, keep trading that crypto. Talk to you later.